Hypertrophy training, if we're doing high density sets, do we know what the exercise prescription usually is for rest between sets and hypertrophy work?
Hypertrophy? You keep it like kind of moderate, but like on the lower end sometimes.
Give me a number.
Minute 30.
Yeah, I'd say anywhere between a minute and 30 to 3 minutes, probably, because we want to push inflammation. We want to damage muscle to build muscle. So what is our, if we're working high density sets, is our intensity going to be very high?
Most likely, yeah.
I mean, how much can you back squat? Just give me a number.
240.
All right, so let's say you back squat 110 kilos for a max, right? Okay, let's say that for a set of 3, you would do 95 kilos. All right, would you do that same 95 kilos for a set of 10? Why? Because you can't. You can't. You get to 4, you're like, flu bar. Somebody help me, right? Because you can't, right? The exercise prescription intensity-wise for hypertrophy work is going to be somewhere between 50% and 70% of your 1 rep max. Or if we're working on RPE, a 5 to a 7, give or take. Because you're going to work such high volume, or high density in the set, and high volume, both, really, right? Versus strength. If we're working strength work, then your intensity is going to be 70 to 95 to 100%, right? But if we're working power, what is power?
How fast you can move a weight?
Yeah, it's a product of speed and force, right? So it can be quite heavy. Weightlifters, right? That's power. It's explosive, right? It can be really, really fast, and it can be really, really heavy, right? But would you find that you could do that for a lot of reps? What happens? You get slower. And if you're training an athlete to get faster, the last thing you want them to do is practice getting slower. Makes a lot of sense, right? And yet you'll see running coaches have people doing heel sprints and watching their athletes die and getting slower every time. It's a terrible way to train somebody to get faster. Good speed coaches have their athletes run below their fastest, but never getting slower, either maintaining or progressively getting faster with plenty of rest in between. Same thing would be true with Olympic weightlifting. What do we do all the time in Ollie lifting? We rest a long time, right? Depends on the athlete. But you rest so that you can be as fast and explosive in your next set, right? Versus, let's say, CrossFit, right? What does CrossFit do with the Ollie lifts? They make them fast, and they have to do them over and over again until you're exhausted, right? Think about the weight you're doing that at. It's not your best clean, is it? No, definitely not, right? You're going to purposely choose something that's about what? Below 50%, right? So you can maintain that speed, right? All right, so when I write a program, these are the things I'm thinking about, right? And where do I start? I always start with what the goal is. So if the goal is strength, right? And I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that I always start from scratch. I have templates, right? I have programs that I've read about and protocols that I've followed and paid for and took education for, and I use those like a recipe, using Isabella's term, right? But just having the protocol or having the template isn't enough if you don't understand what it is you're playing with and how to tinker with it to help somebody get to the goal, right? Tailoring. You can think of it, the difference between buying a suit off the shelf might fit you fine and you look great, or a dress, right? Versus having it tailored and fit to you to make you look your best. That's the difference, right? But, so if I'm doing something for strength, then I know that my time frame is going to be, let's say, 8 weeks. Then I want to fit a program within that 8-week block. If I'm doing an 8-week block, I could think of it a couple of different ways. I could split it up into 4 weeks, or I could just literally do the 8 weeks, maybe do 6 with a taper and then a test, right? Possibly. Like, there's different ways we could play with this. But when we think about using the term you used before, progressive overload, we pick one of those things we were talking about, intensity, density, or maybe two of them, and we're going to increase those over the period. Let's say 8 weeks. How do we increase that? Do we increase it every day?
No, we probably increase it. I would do it on like minimum, hesitantly 1 week, but typically 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think 1 to 2 week increase is a good way. Does it just progressively get harder every 2 or 1 or 2 weeks?
You gotta taper it down sometimes.
You don't have to, but let's just say, so I'm going to give the answer because I think I'm being confusing, so I want to clear it up. There are 2 basic ways, fundamental ways we can progressively overload. We could do it linearly. That's not a wrong answer. That's a right answer, right? We could do it linearly, just getting harder until we've reached the peak, then might put the taper in, and then perhaps a test, right? The other way would be undulating. Very complicated. The Russians, the Soviets did it a lot, where it kind of, every week's different. 1 week's really hard, the next week's really easy, the next week's kind of hard, and then the third week's like medium easy. It's like somewhere in between. And then the fourth week's terrible, right? Or the fifth week's terrible, whatever. It's an undulation. Both are right. A lot of American or US program design is linear. A lot of our tradition comes from linear program design, and it works really, really well. There's 2 really good ways to do linear that I like, and that is to either do like reload. Reload is progressively gets harder every week, a percentage each week until it reaches its peak, right? But another is step cycling. Step cycling would be where week one, let's say, is we have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and we do 70%, 70%, but on Friday we do 75%, right? So now what? Well, now I'm going to repeat that 75%, 75%. Maybe I repeat that a full week, like you were saying, and we can increase it every 2 weeks. But then on Monday, what would I do? I make another increase, 80%. So this is a step cycle. Another one I've used a lot is to do it on Wednesday. So 70, 75, 70, 75, 80, 75. Do you see how that works? So just Wednesday gets harder, and then it repeats it on Monday and Friday. And sometimes I'll alternate that by exercise. So that's another way to do it, step cycling. I'm not going to go over undulating because that's a whole thing called Plan Strong, and you guys can go to that seminar. It's great. Or watch it online. I think they do it online now. All right, so we can choose. After we've chosen, I'm almost out of time. That was like great. We have 4 more minutes. Give me 4 more minutes. All right, so if getting me to talk about something without digressing is really hard. So if we've picked the strength as the capacity, the period is, let's say, 7 to 8 weeks, and we're going to go linear. We're going to increase linear. We're going to increase intensity. That's an easy one. I love intensity, especially for barbell work. Why doesn't intensity work as well for kettlebell work?
Bigger jumps?
Yeah. Especially like you take single arm pressing or double bell. Pressing's the worst, right? What happens when you go up in bell size in a double bell press? How much does it go up by?
Depends. Some go up 4 kilos, some go up 2.
If it's double bells, it's a 4 to 8 kilo increase depending on the bells. And depending on percentage of what their best is, right? That could be a 20 to 30% increase. Holy shit, that's a lot of increase, right? Most people are like, nope, not happening, right? So we have to spend more time at a given bell size, which means that we can't manipulate weight. What do we manipulate? Reps, density, or volume. Maybe we do a lot of sets that day. Maybe we tinker with the density of those sets. We can tinker a little bit with the lighter weight and the weight that we like to work at. So light sets and heavy sets and medium sets. All ways to play with it, but it's going to probably be volume and density, a set that we're mostly playing with. What's another thing that's like that? Similar to kettlebell. Progressing it makes it dramatically harder. Calisthenics, right? Going from a push-up to a one-arm push-up is a ginormous change. It's a, I don't know, 50% increase at least. I mean, would you make a 50% increase on your barbell snatch all of a sudden? He's like, I want to. I want to. When I'm listening to the demon inside. But no, because it wouldn't fly. It's not happening. It's just gonna be pulse. So so it's another one. So what do we have? Pull-ups is another one, right? We have to work volume and density. We have to play with volume and density. You can't really play with. We can maybe make it a little easier doing elevated push-ups, right? We can do other versions of push-ups, like what I call 80-20 push-ups and things like that to find a place in between to make it harder, but it's not a one-arm push-up. There are ways, but wouldn't you agree that the granularness of that is much more challenging to measure and prescribe than, let's say, half a kilo, 2 kilos, 3 kilos. So barbell is especially great for programming within intensities because of the granularness of it. Like, we can really be specific about the percentage increases. All right, I have 1 more minute. So I'm not gonna finish teaching everything about program design in 30 minutes. It's just not gonna happen. But I'm gonna ask one more question. If I'm gonna make an increase from week to week, what do we think is a good percentage increase week to week? I don't hate that answer. Too much. Yeah, I love that answer. So typically, I like somewhere between 3 to 5%. I'll give you an example where I love 5%. When somebody's not particularly strong on the barbell press, if you don't make a 5% increase, it's not a kilo. So it's like, what do I do? Do I just stay where I'm at, or do I go up? You kind of have to go up 5% just to get a kilo more on the bar, right? But is 5% a lot? Yeah, it is. It is a lot. For some people, you'll see them increase a kilo and they'll be like, and then they'll put down and say they're done for the day. And you don't blame them, right? That's 1 kilo. With the step before, they were able to do it no problem. It can make that much of a difference in something like the barbell press, where the strength deficiency is higher probably, particularly with people that don't train upper body or didn't train upper body for a long time or at all, right?